can figure out how to advance the slides. We're just going to start with a land acknowledgement. So we acknowledge that the land on which OICR operates, OICR work takes place on traditional Indigenous territories across the province we now call Ontario, and we're thankful to the Indigenous peoples who have cared for these territories since time immemorial. We acknowledge that Toronto has for thousands of years been the traditional land of the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. Today, we respect and honor the presence of the many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people who make it their home. We also acknowledge that as a virtual meeting, you may be on different territories, so please take the time to reflect on and honor the Indigenous communities of your territories. So this is our schedule for our sort of Meet C3 weekend. So I just wanted to mention that today is one of the days of many. So we have our full program today here at the OICR, which is amazing that it includes patients and caregivers, researchers, clinicians, oncologists, and of course our industry sponsors. Tomorrow we have a patient and caregiver day, and if there's some information in the program as well, and certainly reach out to myself or any of the organizing team if you have questions about that. And then we have our public program update, related to our C3 steering committee on Sunday. I'll go through the schedule in a second. I just wanted to also thank all of the individuals who are here today. Again, I mentioned there's researchers here today, of course, our oncologists, and particularly our speakers, including our keynote speaker who's joined us from south of the border at Auer, and so many of you across the country have come here to support the program and to provide your expertise, especially to the patients who've traveled here, some from farther than others, but taking the time, and I know you've got a lot going on with your treatments and all of that you're going through, but being here is a major advancement in your care, I think. And we know that patients who advocate for themselves and caregivers who advocate for their loved ones, that is a really strong predictor of doing well with your cancer. And of course, I'd like to thank our many partners here who have helped to contribute and support, including the OICR that hosted us today. And of course, BioCanRx, who's hosting our meeting on Sunday as well. And all of the many groups that we collaborate with that you can see here. And of course, our gold, silver, and green sponsors. So Insight, Servier, AstraZeneca, the Grizzly Family Foundation, Jazz, and Intera Oncology. Thank you so much for your support. This meeting really couldn't happen without your investment. And I really can't forget to thank the incredible organizing committee who put this together. So Christine, Zaid, Samar, our patient partner, Cynthia, and of course, our leader and the visionary behind the event, Leonard, who I'm sure all of you have talked to. I think it's amazing what you've been able to put together, Leonard. So thank you so much for all the effort and work. We think, without confirmed documentation, that this may be the largest cholangiocarcinoma conference in Canada today. On a personal note, I just wanted to mention that I think it's really just so amazing how far we've come in just over 2 years and how much we've been able to achieve. When my husband was diagnosed with stage 4 cholangiocarcinoma almost 3 years ago now, I was so sad and I was really scared. But what I remember the most is that I felt hopeless. But then I started to connect with other people, physicians, researchers, and especially other patients. And I learned about all the discoveries that were happening, the novel therapies that were coming down the pipeline, and that hope grew. And a big part of the inspiration behind creating C3 was we wanted to grow that hope in our entire community and especially for our patients. And I remember at the beginning when we had some of these new ideas, people said, well, you can't offer molecular testing to patients if you can't give them novel treatments that are related to those mutations. And you'll be giving patients false hope. And I'll tell you that I no longer believe that there's such a thing as false hope. Hope is in itself an incredibly powerful force. Hope builds connections. Hope drives change. And hope alone can heal. And I think as long as our patients have courage, we will bring them that hope. A friend of mine last week asked me, so what is the C3 thing anyway? I kind of didn't know anything about it, and I didn't really want to go into it, but I just said, it's just the coolest thing I've ever been involved in. We really believe at C3 that Canadian patients with rare cancers should have a right to try, a right to try novel therapeutics if they've been approved in other cancers, and a right to access clinical trials, no matter how much money they make or where they live in this country. And we will continue to fight and advocate for this as an organization. I have one more message for all the cholangiocarcinoma tumor cells out there. We are coming for you. Your days are numbered.